Welcome to the Infinite Wealth Podcast. I'm Cameron Christensen, along with our co-host Anthony Faso. We just wrapped up our interview with two good friends and clients, Matt and Nicole Ridenauer. Man, what a great story of learning about infinite banking and then also the implementation of it. Anthony, what's a takeaway or two you had?
Tim, my takeaway is I'm even more passionate about my quest to really find out what happens in your meeting. So I asked them this question. This rumor that's been floating around the office. They were a little evasive, right? But maybe you did mention they were friends, so maybe they're protecting you, but whatever. There's some great information on here because these guys are flipping real estate. And we asked them what did they like before, what was different before infinite banking and after. And one of the things that they mentioned is infinite banking helped. It really gave them more accountability. It gave them a place where they knew they had to put the money away for the next deal, as opposed for it as a tendency to sometimes walk away. I would tell you one thing. A takeaway I got. Well, I already knew this, okay, and this is about you, but just want to have you sweat for a couple of seconds. They when they first, and this happens quite a bit. People listen to podcasts, they read the book, they start thinking of all the great things about infinite banking, and they want to go all in, right? And people, but Cameron had walked them back and says, like, let's make sure that we're doing it at a even pace. So kudos to you, but that also shows the importance of picking a good coach to help you through this, who's going to do what the right things are. So that was a good takeaway. And also he had mentioned our Facebook group. He's been very active on our Facebook group. And if you want to be able to ask him questions, check out the link in the show notes and you get free access to our private Facebook group. And you could post questions to us or to other clients and other members and just really try to find ways to help you achieve that passive income to be more than your monthly expenses. Cam, with your BFFs, what takeaways did you have from this podcast?
Man, I got two takeaways. One being one of the things we say often on here is invest in what you know. These guys are investing in their backyard. They've been there, 30 plus years living there, and they've got a great community that they've been able to tap into to find tremendous deals, and they've brought in the community to help them on some of this stuff along the way, and that's one of the things that they shared with us. So, man, that's where you find success is investing in what you know, and they are a great example of it. The second one was Matt had mentioned a couple of times in there, I think, about learning and growing.
Mm-hmm.
And he also referenced that when they first started getting out or kind of getting their feet settled as a young couple, is his father-in-law, Nicole's father, had taught them carpentry. And that's really what allowed them to kind of have real estate on the side over the years. And so, again, it's a skill set that's being passed down from one generation to the next. And now they've been able to teach that to their kids, and not only teaching them carpentry and those types of construction skills, but they're also adding infinite banking on top of that. And man, I'm excited for the outlook for Evan and Liam. They're going to have a tremendous future adding those two elements to what they're doing. So again, guys, just another example of some of our clients that are using infinite banking, had tremendous success, and are just really great people. So hope you guys enjoyed meeting the Ridenauers in this episode.
Enjoy the episode.
Take care. If you're an investor or want to be an investor and you're looking to create passive income that exceeds your monthly expenses, then this is the podcast for you. Here on the Infinite Wealth Podcast, we combine the philosophies of Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad, along with Nelson Nash's infinite banking concept. Welcome to the Infinite Wealth Podcast. I'm Cameron Christensen, along with our co-host Anthony Faso. And today we've got two special guests. We've got Matt and Nicole Ridenauer. Guys, welcome to the show.
Thanks.
Oh, thank you, Cameron.
Absolutely. I am excited to have you guys on here. I'm not excited.
And Anthony.
Just thanking Cameron.
Not so much to have you here, but I'm excited to have these guys here. They've got a great story, guys. I've had a front row seat to kind of your kind of walk down infinite banking the last several years. And really, that's what we're hoping to share with our audience today, is kind of the way that you guys have learned about infinite banking, but also the implementation. You guys have had tremendous success doing it. So if you guys could, let's go back. I think the first policy that was started was around 2021 ish.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, if you guys don't mind going back, tell us a little bit about where you guys were as far as kind of job wise there first, and then we'll kind of transition over to infinite banking. What were you
Sure.
guys doing in 2020, 2021?
Yeah, so I was just finishing up a teaching career, 30-year music teacher, and actually just retired last week. But we were
Congrats.
in the end game of that, and Nicole was working for a design build company in town, and we were, because of COVID, we had just started kind of flipping houses and working on houses with our two young children at that time. They were in their teens. But that's, we got started in that time frame. Just we had a house that we were taking back over that the person hadn't paid their taxes, so we were taking that one over, and we just started flipping houses.
Now, you're a school teacher, right? Typically, like a government employee, just put a label on it,
Yeah.
typically isn't thinking about investing, or most of them aren't really thinking more about finances. They have their pension and just relying on that. Matt, I'm just curious how you're thinking a little different. Is there some backstory or any reason why you took a different approach?
Yeah, I mean, we started so long ago. So Nicole's dad was a veterinarian, but also an amazing builder. And we met in high school, and he was an awesome teacher, and he taught us how to build. And when we bought our first house, we bought it. Nicole and I bought this house together. As it was a wreck, and we bought it to to fix it up,
To live in it,
to live in it.
yeah.
And it ended up being a burr. We didn't realize we were doing a burr at the time, but it ended up being a burr for us. And we took the money that we made off of the renovations and bought another house. And that was the exact same time that I had started teaching. And so all the way through the teaching career was also this kind of real estate mindset.
But then you started listening to podcasts and
Oh, yeah.
learning, always learning.
Yep, learn and grow, learn and grow. Make
Absolutely.
mistakes.
Yeah. So thanks for sharing that, right? I wanted our listeners to kind of get an understanding where you guys are coming from. If you don't mind, let's kind of bring in infinite banking here. Matt, do you remember the first time you came across infinite banking? How long ago was it? What'd you first think?
Yeah, so I happened across a YouTube video back when YouTube was kind of young. It must have been 2012 or 2013, something like that.
Wow.
And I remember watching this this YouTube video. It was this person explaining, what infinite banking was. And I remember thinking at the time, we just didn't have any money. We had our teaching flow and our Nicole's workflow. We had that kind of cash coming in, but nothing big. And the way it made sense to me back then was you were putting this money in, and then 7 years later, you were reaping the benefits of that. That long-term, hold. We just didn't have any cash to, that was going to amount to anything at the time. Fast forward to 2017, discovered Bigger Pockets, and started listening to different things. And at somewhere along the way, my podcast recommendations came across, and I found an IBC podcast, started listening. And I'll tell you, I listened to a bunch of podcasts. I found yours, but I found, half a dozen other podcasts, and I started listening to all of the different people tell their story about how it works. And the reason we ended up with you is just because I really connected with the way that you guys taught through your podcast, especially Anthony. I mean, especially.
Just, you didn't have to say that, Matt.
Megan for a little acknowledgement.
I need a little
But everybody's great. Like the IBC community seems pretty great. But you listen to different podcasts and you're like, yeah, I can see myself working with those people, And so that's kind of where your personalities came through, and it was like, okay, these are the people that we want to hitch our wagon to.
Nicole, when Matt came home and said, "Hey, I'm thinking of this IBC idea," what were your thoughts?
Well, I guess I really didn't know much about it, and I'm more conservative financially than him. So it took a lot of convincing. And you probably know, like the first time we met, I was like, I don't understand this. I'm a math and numbers person, but I just couldn't wrap my brain around it. But you were a good teacher, along with Matt too. So I finally took me a while to learn kind of what it took and what it was all about. And now we love it, and we tell all our friends. And yeah.
Can I add to that? Like,
Yeah.
so, when I spent a long time listening, and I had a general idea of what was going on. But when Cameron, when we sat down with you, and you walked Nicole through it, I was like, oh, thanks for walking Nicole through that. But it was
It's like when you don't want to listen to your parents.
Yeah, exactly. But honestly, at the end, you usually encourage people to get on a discovery call with you. And I would tell the people that are listening to this, if they haven't done that, both Anthony and Cameron, you guys are both so good at explaining at a common English level of what's going on. A lot of times all the things can get
Those
lost.
CPA types.
Yeah, those CPA people.
I can't stand those guys.
You guys got lucky. On my calendar, you guys didn't get the spreadsheets.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I mean, there's the teaching, and I remember asking you questions that were so basic, even like the third time, having a call with you and asking a question that I should have known from the first call, but you just took the time to answer all that stuff.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate that. What made you guys decide, or what was it about infinite banking that kind of jumped out at you originally, right? The concept, and then you start to learn some of the details. Was there one or two things that you're like, you know what, I think this is going to be a good fit for us?
Yeah, but you want to do that, or
Go ahead.
Okay, well, so we're house flippers, right? And we do, we run Airbnbs, and we do all this real estate stuff, right? And real estate is big chunks of money.
In and out.
In and out, right? You're either poor or you're rich. It just depends on which day of the week it is. And with infinite banking, the concept of uninterrupted compounding interest and pegging your value here and then using it as a lever is just the very attractive concept. That's kind
Awesome.
of the biggest thing. And I think the stability of it and understanding that it's going to be there for you. It's not like a short term, you're going to get rich right away kind of thing. It takes a long time for that interest to grow and grow and grow.
So we're not going anywhere.
Yeah, we're not going anywhere. Yeah.
If you guys don't mind, do you guys remember looking back and maybe sharing how you guys approached the first policy? How did you come up with how you wanted to fund it and to what extent? Do you guys remember that? It's been a while ago.
Yeah, I remember the number. We had like 190 that came in, and it was which one was that?
Yeah,
I can't remember.
now.
We've
Been too many.
Yeah, we have this rock star real estate agent that just keeps bringing us deals. It's like over and over again. I got another one for you. I got another one for you. So at some point, we had a kind of a cash, payment coming in, and always with that cash, it's if you don't do something with it, it just disappears. Where did it go? I don't know.
He deals with it. Yeah.
So Cameron, you explained to us that PDF concept and just putting it somewhere so that it can trickle into your policy. And that really is an awesome way to go. Because, anytime you get a windfall, you can put it in something, a PDF, and then trickle it into a new policy.
But then you can still have access to it and use it for other stuff. So it's not like it's gone, which is very nice.
So that first policy, I mean, time goes fast. Like I think we're coming up on 3 years of that first policy coming through. So pretty cool.
I want to bring it up, but I don't know how, to be honest. Is Matt, when you came in, you were 100 miles an hour, right?
Yeah.
You were like, man, I want to get, yeah. Nicole, maybe you could speak to this as to his personality, but man, he came in and he wanted to take IBC from 0 to 100.
Right.
How has that process been over the last couple of years? Can you guys speak to that a little bit?
I think I've caught up to him a little.
Yeah.
But no, I think he's always the big ideas guy, and he's always the one wanting to try stuff outside the box. And like our realtor always is like, no one does that. And we're like, okay, let's do it, and we figure out a way to make it work. So I think, it just kind of evolves over time, and it happens.
You have a hard time like setting limits for things. It seems to me that you set your own limits, and if you just reach for the highest thing you possibly can, you get halfway and you just did amazing things. So
Absolutely. Matt, I'm going to share something here is that this was kind of from my perspective. When you came in, you wanted to go 100 miles an hour as far as creating policies, right? You wanted to go as big as you possibly could, as quickly as you possibly could. And to be honest, I feel like I spent the first year, probably year and a half, kind of reining you in and slowing you down a little bit, right? Do you remember those conversations at all?
100%. And you know what? I think that's a big deal because, maybe a less, not honest, but so you could have taken advantage if you wanted to, because I was so gung ho about this. You could have said, "Oh, I'll write this policy. I'll write that," right? Not knowing me, but you were, gracious about how it, reining in and giving, not tamping everything down, but giving parameters that made sense.
Yeah, it's been a lot of give and take over the first couple years. I remember you sending me spreadsheets of,
Yep.
hey, I think I could ladder. I think I could fund it according to this.
Yep.
I'm like, man, that's a great idea, but let's start maybe halfway of
Baby
that, right?
steps. Baby
Yep,
steps.
exactly. So that's one of the things I remember from kind of those early phases of kind of talking about infinite banking with you guys.
Yeah.
Looking back, if you guys don't mind, you mentioned kind of what you guys are doing with it, real estate, but some of the examples of what you've been able to do with the policy over the last few years.
I mean, I'll go. I just feel like I'm monopolizing all the time.
Like Cameron.
Yeah.
Well, I want to hear the answer, but Cameron knows there's a good question coming.
I'm a little nervous.
And he's a little nervous, so
I
he
am.
keeps on talking, so I can't ask that question. But it's coming. It's
I mean,
coming.
basically, yeah, we buy a house and then we put the money in a policy and then we use that money to buy the next house, and it kind of comes and goes back in and out of the policy. And meanwhile, the policy is growing in the background, but in the foreground, we're using it to invest in more real estate and have more fun playing with tools and
Yeah, it's
growing.
big, it's big chunks. Like, if you have the nice thing is, after when you sell a house, there's liens that you have to settle at closing and whatnot. But then you have some lingering debts that you can pay off a little bit slower. So if you can put that into a PUA, and you get that account charged up, that gives you access to the money a little bit later, and you can pay off those debts. So as a flipper, thinking, as the flipper's mindset, you're selling, and instead of settling your debts right away, you're pinning value in a real estate policy, life insurance policy, and then you're paying off your debts afterwards. So now your values are there forever, and then the debts are paid off, and then you have just left a policy debt to pay.
Now, you guys were flipping before infinite banking, and then you've been flipping with infinite banking. How has the difference been before and after incorporating IBC?
Well, I mean, so Nicole does all the numbers and manages all. I just do the dreaming and whatnot.
Yeah.
But it seems to me the life insurance line of credit that we use with Busey Bank, that has been super helpful. We just write a check for a down payment. We're doing that on Monday, in fact. So write a check for a down payment.
Yeah, it's just nice to have that cushion. Before, like Matt said, we would spend it, and who knows what you spent it on, but it's gone. So, but if you can tuck it away for a rainy day, then it's there.
Right. But yeah, having there it goes. Having the I turned that off, I promise. Having the the line of credit off of your PDFs is super helpful, because now you can just write a check for it. It's just like having a HELOC,
Mm-hmm.
Matt, we've gone through kind of you've got a spreadsheet that we've shared. We've gone over a few times just about recapturing some of the debt that you guys have for the Airbnbs and kind of a 10-year timeline. If you don't mind conceptually maybe sharing what your goal is kind of with the policy. You guys were using kind of that $500,000 line of credit, and now we're trying to migrate that over to the policy. You mind giving kind of a vision that you have with that?
Well, we're kind of thinking as we get older that we'd like to, we're still having fun with the remodeling and stuff, but it would be
Mhm.
nice at some point to not have to do that, all the time or even part of the time. So our goal is to kind of pay off. We've got 2 Airbnbs that would be amazing. We could totally retire if those were paid off completely. We still have mortgages on them. So the goal is to just flip until we get our mortgages paid off on those. And then we should be set.
Live on that cash flow.
Yeah, live on that cash flow when,
And then sell those whenever we want to.
Yeah. Awesome. Looking back, right, we've hit on some of the highlights of infinite banking, all the good things, right? But looking back on your kind of 3-year path here, any things that you don't like with infinite banking?
Well, it's a little bit of an encumbrance. Like, it's a mindset shift when you for instance, let's say if we paid off our $400,000 mortgage, right? If we paid off that $400,000 mortgage, we still are carrying that debt. It's just our own debt. You know what I mean? So you kind of have to, let go the concept that you're, throwing money at this policy. You kind of have to pay it off twice. But in the end, you're building your equity. I mean, that's the only thing I think of is a kind of a little bit of a downer, because you have to kind of pay it twice. But you're paying yourself the second time, so what's wrong with that?
Yeah,
and at your own pace.
Well said. Guys, what would you say to somebody that's maybe sitting on the fence with infinite banking? Somebody that's been looking at it and kind of like, should I, shouldn't I? Any thoughts that you'd share with them?
Oh, I would. The younger, the better. I mean, if I could just go back in time. Guys, if I could just go back in time.
Well, we've started our kids, and they're teens and 20s still.
Proud moment when Evan, our oldest, came in one day, and he comes in the door in a rush, and he's like, I get it. I totally get it. And he was, understanding how you peg your value, and that the uninterrupted compounding. It's proud moment when your 20-year-old, it has a light bulb
about IBC.
You're like, yes. But no, I honestly, I think that my mindset, again, if I'd started in 2012, we would be in a completely different spot, because at the time I was thinking, oh, we don't have that. But you don't have to start with a big amount. You can start with a small amount. If you can even chunk in $200 a month on a premium and grow it from there, or whatever. Just start small and try a policy, see how you like it. And it's amazing how fast everything grows. Just amazing.
Absolutely.
Okay, can I?
I've been trying to cut you off the whole time. Yeah.
Okay.
The wind up.
We'll let you.
No, but this is a very unique situation that we've interviewed many of our clients, but this is only the second time that we interviewed one of Cameron's clients. Why he was keeping him secret, I don't know, because there's a lot of secrecy that goes across the hall. Like, I really want to know what's going on in there. I mean, I can't even hear. I try to put my ear to the door. All I hear is cans of aerosol spray and hair dryers. And if he's not doing that, he's listening to K-pop. So I can't really, I don't know what's going on. This is like the insight, and we all hear rumors. Right?
Yeah, because you
hear rumors. Some I may have started, but there's something I would love to get the truth on whether this happens or not. So hopefully you can enlighten me. There's a rumor going around that if you meet with Cameron and you badmouth Paul Mitchell, okay, he assumes you're on drugs and will tell the insurance company they need to fill out a drug questionnaire. So I'm curious, did that happen to you?
I can't vouch for that particular one. I will say too, though, that Cameron had COVID one time. Was it COVID?
I don't know if it was him or one of his kids. I can't remember.
You were laid up in bed. I mean, like, just, hair this way, hair that way.
What?
I didn't see any Paul Mitchell products around at all, but he was still taking that meeting, man.
Is that Cameron will?
Duty calls. Duty calls. Duty calls. Yeah.
Wait, but no, hold on, Matt. I really let me just ask you this
I know
question.
that's hard to believe.
Did that? So you're saying that did not happen to you? Okay.
Sorry, didn't happen to me. Can't vouch
Okay.
for
Well,
that
let me just to
Cameron on
clarify. Just to clarify, Matt, did you badmouth Paul Mitchell?
one.
Because if you didn't, we still don't know.
Yeah,
Right? We still don't know.
Cannot confirm.
I'm just gonna have to continue my pursuit on
Mhm.
this until I find the answer.
Yeah.
And I'm destined. Like I'm. This
You're
is me part of my
yeah,
why.
determined
I'm
to find
determined to
it.
get this.
As I was going back through, kind of prepping for this meeting, I was looking back at some of the notes that I'd taken in a lot of our meetings, and I went back to some of the first ones. And one of the goals that I had written down was that you guys want to add some Airbnbs and travel around the country,
Oh man.
right?
And check.
I was gonna say, tell us, right? Have those two goals been met?
We were just in Spain and France this summer. I
Yeah.
guess that's not the US, but it's the world. Yeah.
We were
And
traveling
then,
like crazy.
and we have 2 Airbnbs now. I'm also co-hosting a couple here and there.
Yep, and we got a brand new build, super exciting. Nicole's been working like crazy on this one. So the first Airbnb that we had was on a 14-acre parcel, and the first thing we did was split it into pieces. So there's 3 vacant parcels waiting to be built on. And Nicole, after a year and a half of drawings and meetings with building departments and all the different people, the shovels are supposed to show up next week. And we should be getting started. And this one is going to be awesome. It's got an indoor heated pickleball court,
Wow.
ADA compliant. It's going to be an awesome, cool house.
Fun spot to visit, hopefully.
Call it the Pickle Factory.
Nice.
So
Now, So it sounds to me like you guys work this business together.
we do.
Any advice? Because it can be very difficult working with your spouse. So any advice to some couples out there that might be doing something similar?
Have a lot of patience.
Yes, patience for sure. But honestly, I think the best partnerships are the partnerships that have different people involved. You know what I mean? Like I'm out in the clouds dreaming and just imagining what you could do. And Nicole is down on the
With
ground.
the schedule and the numbers.
Yep,
And the,
turning the gears and making everything happen. And you can't have 2 dreamers and you can't have 2 implementers, right? You got to have a yin and yang going on. And also, honestly, just communication. We're still working on that part. It's not always great. But for the most part, it is. And we have our systems down and we talk every day. We work side by side really well. And I think it's a respect thing too. Nicole respects, what I'm able to do, and I respect what she's able to do. And we don't test each other on that stuff. We know that the other person knows what they're doing.
well, and it's been fun too, because we involved our kids, somewhat begrudgingly, but somewhat they enjoy it. But then being able to bring their friends in too, like especially during COVID when the world was shut down and they didn't have to go to school, they could come and swing a hammer. And just being able to teach kids to do stuff has been really rewarding. And, we got labor out of it. They learned skills out of it. And it was a great sense of community too, with, a set of kids, with our realtor, with our plumber, with all the people that we work with kind of in our little biosphere.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really,
So that's been
cool
fun. And then,
ecosystem.
the meetup group you started several years ago that, everybody's in real estate, but everybody's doing completely different things. And that's been super fun to bounce stuff off each other. And, anytime you need something, someone will ask. And sure enough, somebody in the group has it. So it's made a cool sense of community.
Matt and Nicole, you guys came out, I think it was last year, right? You guys came out to Vegas.
Yeah.
Were able to go check out Red Rock. And then we stopped and we had lunch with the boys.
Yep.
And what reminded me of that was just what you guys were talking about there, is that you guys have been able to include them in what you guys have been doing over the years.
Yeah.
And you talked about the boys and then having their friends come over and help you guys with projects. And we talked about that at lunch. And man, it was just story after
Yeah.
story about so and so coming over and not knowing how to swing a hammer
Right.
and bringing these kids in. And then they're coming back from college and visiting, getting to see them again. And man, I love that sense of community,
Mhm.
Yeah.
right, that you guys have been able to build. So I ask you guys, right? You guys are very active locally. What kind of vision or what are you guys trying to get accomplished there in your local community?
Well, one thing, of course, that I'm always interested in is women in the build industry, because
Yeah.
there still in this day and age aren't very many.
Mhm.
So we've been kind of lucky. The local high school here has a building trades program. I don't know if it's every year or however often they build a house. And it's like for the local high schools. And usually there's one girl in the program. And usually we convince them to come and work with me. And, it's a draw, I guess, for them that I'm female
Nice.
also.
Well, that's
We volunteer with Habitat for Humanity. And well, I say we, for the Women Build Day.
Yeah.
So I'm just happy to bring more women into the field. I think that's cool. And I don't understand why other women don't enjoy getting dirty and setting tile and things like that. But yeah, that's one thing that is important to me.
cool.
Yeah. Are you guys able to build a presence in your local community in any way?
Well, our meetup group is pretty local, and we've been kind of getting together, and we have some people that are interested in midterm rentals and short-term rentals, and that kind of thing. I think the way we've been thinking about, especially our flip world, is we just finished a flip in the lower price band of houses, so a first-time home buyer can get in and get an affordable house. You know what I mean? We just finished a super high end one on the other side of town. And it's just kind of nice to go back and forth and create different kinds of experiences for people out of those
Love it.
flips.
Guys, I love the setup, but I got to tell you, I am a little disappointed. Uh, yeah, with the background. Typically, I'm meeting with these guys. They're sitting in the backyard with a glass of wine. Is usually most of our meetings are around revolve around that. So it looks great, but man, next time we got to do the backyard with a glass of wine. How's
Yeah,
that?
we'll do that. We'll do that one next time. I wanted to have this.
Fridays are lawn mowing days of our neighbor.
Yeah,
Mm.
wanted to have a great microphone and everything, but yeah, and I should say our friend Rick, this is an amazing studio that he
Yeah.
built, and it's just an awesome place. It's a turnkey environment, but you walk in and everything's welcoming. But no, there's no trees in the background. Next time, actually, I even thought about taking a picture of that and making a poster. Let's see.
Great, guys. You got anything else to wrap this
No,
up?
I'm still searching for the answer to that question, but I will continue my
I'll keep
search.
you posted.
Yeah, please do. Please do.
I'll tell you what, I'll record our next meeting and see what happens.
Great. Can't wait.
You know what? Maybe
wait.
I need to post this in our Facebook group.
Anthony's
Maybe that'll be a way.
I love that Facebook group. You guys, it's the engagement there is awesome. And the more people that can get in and start chatting about I really want to know what other people are doing. Like, I feel like we're kind of an island in our space because we're always trying to get people to do infinite banking. But I would love to, engage with other real estate investors there.
Matt and Nicole, hey, we really appreciate your time. If you got any kind of last minute sentiments that you'd like to share, feel free. Got anything you'd like to add?
No, I'm loving it. Let's keep on trucking. There's so much more we can do with infinite banking and real estate. It's just a fun ride. So thank you for having us on.
No, to thank you guys for sharing your story. We appreciate it. You really don't have anything to gain from coming up here. So we appreciate you sharing your story so others can hear it from a different perspective.
Yeah, honestly, if anybody wants to chat about real estate and how IBC works, just connect us and we'll get. In fact, we're going to connect up with one of your other clients out in Denver in a month or so, just to talk about some ADA stuff and getting Airbnbs online.
Oh, that's cool. A perfect place for that would be in our private Facebook group that talks about infinite banking and ways to create passive income. And so Matt and Nicole have been very active in that. There is a link in the show notes to join. You don't need to be a client. You just need to participate. So that'd be a great way to learn more about infinite banking.
Matt, thank you. Nicole, thank you even more for coming on and being on the show. Really appreciate you guys coming on today. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Thanks,
Absolutely.
guys. Go
Bye.
make it a fantastic day.
Take care.
If you like this video, I know you're like this one. And if you want to learn how investors use infinite banking to increase their returns and lower their taxes, check this out. And if you have some questions and want to see if infinite banking is for you, hop on a discovery call with us. Link for that will be in the description.